unless you've been living under a rock, or if you have been living under a rock, Nico Harrison traded Luka Dončić. Maybe you heard of that. And finally this week, he was fired, and it felt as though he was fired not because the Mavericks brass was going, this season's not working, we need a new direction. It's that the fans just would not let it continue, that they were chanting fire Nico at not just Mavericks games, but any sort of game in the greater Dallas area or all over Texas. And so they had to do it. And I don't know if this is a new phenomenon or if this was just a unique circumstance, this particular trade that is never going to be repeated. The question I ask people and the passionate argument I have over it is whose fault? Who gets most of the blame? Is it Dumont, the new owner, or is it the guy he's fired and fed to the wolves, the blood sacrifice, Nico Harrison? You can go with that, or you can take this any direction you want.
Who gets the blame? I mean, it's got to be Nico Harrison in the sense that this was his brainchild. Like he invented this as a thought. The thought that you would move on from Luka Dončić didn't exist before Nico Harrison implanted it into his owner's brains. Now, you can say the owners should be competent enough to be like, not only are we saying no to this, we're firing you. If you think this, like, you don't deserve to be our GM anymore. This is such a pick whichever R word you want to use. Pick whichever one. This is such a terrible idea. But I think, like, how do you not blame Nico for this? Like,
it's a matter of perspective. I've got a friend who passionately, angrily says to me, it's ownership, it's ownership, it's ownership. But
it is ownership, but like,
but we're
these
NBA
people
guys.
are not NBA people.
We're NBA guys. Our perspective is that's the GM. Our perspective is
it's the GM.
The owner doesn't know anything. They're not supposed to know anything.
First of all, Ethan, let's just say, because the reporting indicates that Nico is the one who took it to the owners, not the opposite way. Let's just say it was the opposite way. The job of the GM is to throw his body in front of that.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, I will die. Quit if you do this.
You need to fire me before we do that move that you just proposed. So, no, it's the GM, man. Like, you are the top basketball person within the organization. Miriam Adelson and her son-in-law, bro, really? We're laying this at their feet? Really?
That haircut is stupid. I think that is a problem for Dumont. But yeah, Ezra was saying, you want to ask if the Nico Harrison discussion is also dividing along racial lines. I would say it would if the Mavericks were doing a little bit better. If they were doing a little bit better, we could get a good race war going.
And Luka was doing a little bit worse.
Yeah, we get a good race war going. But
I've seen people try to do this where, like, Nico's getting hell because he's black. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm black and I would love to take it there, but like, this is just objectively one of the most horrible moves anybody has ever done. However, and I do think it's my job whenever I'm talking about this to bring a broader context. Luka Dončić, at the time of the trade, was due a $350 million extension this summer. This summer that just passed. So the summer of 2025, he was due that extension. This is new ownership. They just paid billions for the team. Their GM is explaining to them, we cannot get this guy to do anything. Nothing. They can't talk Luka into anything. Not a training regimen, not a diet regimen, not a anything that the best players we spent the hour talking about Steph Curry.
Yeah.
You want to talk about putting the work in?
Yeah.
My fucking God, dude. There's never been anybody more dedicated. Okay? Like, this man is dedicated to his job
Such a good point.
in a maniacal way.
I've never seen anybody standing around Luka in awe of whatever like training
What he does
performance.
to prepare for work, okay? Luka Dončić was the diametric opposite. This motherfucker did nothing. And, because he's basically like some child prodigy, he's been excellent at hoops since he was 13 years old. And he's known that. He just has it in him. This excellence is innate to his fucking nature. He's never had to do anything. Not to say he never worked on his game, but this shit just comes so natural to him. The idea that these suits would come and tell him how to be better than what he's already doing, which is 30 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, which again, unprecedented to Luka's credit. But like if you're coming at it from the bosses, and we can't talk this guy into anything related to hard work, dedication, and sacrifice, and then we give him $350 million,
And
then we're supposed to expect him to do it after,
which is how I understand. If you don't know basketball, you can't process it.
That seems insane.
But it's this industry. It's what I wrote about in my book at the end, that they got dragged through hell by Kevin Durant. And when he left, they were put in the position of hoping they could get dragged to hell by somebody like this, because that's what you're going for. What you are going for as a GM or an owner, and all your power, your vision, your leadership, your little mantras, your little slogans, whatever it is to have some guy in his 20s just make you his bitch and boss you around and not have any real power to get him to do anything, because that's how important he is to this franchise.
That's how important the guy is.
And it's unusual you have somebody like Steph who had to scrape and scrap a bit to get to that mantle. I bet Steph has thought, or did early in his career, I could lose my job. I've seen Chris Paul give speeches to guys at camps about how his perspective on the league is that this amount of draft picks enter the league, this amount of guys get flushed out, and I've got to keep my job and do everything possible to keep my job. To what you're saying, do you think Luka ever thought once about losing his job?
No. And I have it on personal authority. No, sorry, not personal authority, because he didn't say it to me. But I have it on pretty good. I could say this is true. They are still steaming about it, the Luka camp. They still can't believe they were this opportunity for $350 million guaranteed was taken from them by Nico Harrison. Like, don't believe for a second that he would have gotten skinny this summer after getting through. No, that was all revenge. That was all spite. This whole season, this whole campaign is a spite to Nico Harrison and his disbelief in Luka Dončić as a worker, as a player, as a franchise guy. And again, Nico Harrison made the worst trade possible, but like from I'm talking about his monkey ass crew, his monkey operation that he had for a training crew, which is like some dudes that he met back when he was at Real Madrid in Spain. These are not trainers. These are just buddies of his from fucking Madrid. That was his training team. Like when he came back from injury, Ethan, part of his rehab with his training team on the practice facility, he's coming back from injury to start last season. Remember, he was like hurt, fucked up, and he's doing his ramp up. They were playing ping pong on the practice facility court. This is shit that happened. So, again, Luka is one of the greatest players I've ever witnessed. But if you're in charge of that franchise, and this is what you're watching on a day-to-day, it takes the superstar petulance to a bit, I don't want to say extreme, but Luka is ridiculous. And people, and whatever, I don't care. I'm not afraid to say it. You know, we on with Ethan right now. We got to give it to the people. People will mention his off-court habits. That's a euphemism for drinking.
Yeah.
I won't say Luka Doncic is the only person in the NBA who drinks. What I will say, I bet he's in the top 10.
I love how he's so good at basketball that he's clearly out of shape and it's affecting his work. Michael Finley takes the beer out of his hand, and the reaction is, "You can't do that. What are you doing? Taking a
Dude,
guy's
I'm
beer.
telling you,
Unbelievable."
if you were working with this guy, and again, it's not to say Luka's not a dick to people, but the second you try to get him to do something different from what he wants to do, you're gonna catch hell. And that's what they were dealing with in there. And I really don't think Luka ever gets in shape with the Mavericks. Just like I don't think Ja Morant changes his work habits in Memphis. I
Yeah.
don't think Trae Young becomes a less shot addicted, whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Joel Embiid like when you anoint somebody the fucking boy prince of your franchise from the time that he's 20 years old, and that's all you feed him. All everybody in that organization does is fondle this fucking kid's nuts whenever they're in his fucking presence. And you do that for fucking years on end. The idea that you're gonna talk him into doing something difficult or something that he doesn't feel like he wants to do, I don't think that it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. And so, as much as Nico made a horrible trade, I don't think Luka Doncic changes his stripes in Dallas. I think he does continue with the horrible habits. I don't think he ever gets in shape, and I ultimately don't think he reaches his potential.
Well, I think what we learned is I think it would be enough for the Mavericks fans. I think most fan bases would rather have the
Yeah,
superstar
that's
not
fair.
optimizing
That is fair.
versus whatever the hell they're going to get going. Lucky for them, though. Stack draft class. Stack draft
Stag
class.
draft class. You got Cooper Flag already.
It's a
The
good time to be
future's
back.
not that grim.